Hello, hello, hello. It's me, Robin Fafme. I am your host today for All Things Solar. Solar Logics EDU is who we are, it's our company name. And as you all know, Thursdays is our time together. Um, I want to today speak very slowly and very clearly to hopefully share a bit of information that will resonate with many of you. Um, every Thursday, except when life calls, we are here from 6:30 to 7:30. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. You can hear us on iHeartRadio and Be Humble, Stay Humble Network. These are places that you can find us. Now, iHeartRadio and Be Humble, Stay Humble Network is audio only, but if you run across us over there, take a listen. I am in the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex area, actually more so in DeSoto, but I do travel throughout the Metroplex and Texas as well. Solar Logics EDU, what we do is we are a solar energy education company and sales organization. So, what that means is that if you have heard all about solar energy and you're familiar with solar panels that people are putting on their rooftops, and you ride around your neighborhood in different places and you see the panels on the roofs and you wonder what that is, or maybe your electric bill is really high and you're considering going solar to kind of either lower or totally eliminate that energy bill. That's what we're all about. We are very, very, very interested and concerned and dedicated to making sure that you, the homeowner, that you are smarter. Okay? Because it's really important for you to have full knowledge about what solar is, what it is not, what to expect if you decide to transition to solar energy, and exactly whether or not solar is good for you. Is it good for your home? Is that something that your family would benefit from? All of these are very relevant questions that usually you may not start to realize until after you've actually signed a contract and made a deal for solar. So, Solar Logics EDU is about educating the homeowner. Our total objective is to make the homeowner smarter. We believe that we deliver value in teaching homeowners how to correctly interpret information about solar energy. Because here's what I say all the time: solar energy should not be complicated, it should not be hard to understand. But there are lots of moving parts that you have to understand. And it's better that you understand before you actually go solar, as opposed to going solar and finding these things out as you go. And I'm sure that you would agree with that. So that's what we do. We make you smarter as homeowners about solar energy, and we equalize the buying experience so that when you get the knock on the door or the phone call and they're talking to you about solar, and you can now ask questions. You understand net metering a little bit better. You understand the solar buyback programs and what that really means. You understand that you can set up an account with Smart Meter Texas. if you're in Texas, and you can actually see your consumption and your production, which happens every 15 minutes. That consumption and production is updated. You can look at that and be able to determine when you're using more energy than not. And these are things that we will teach you, or that you will learn when you come to a Solar Logics education class. We also will talk to you about your bill. How do you read your bill? Why is your bill important? Why is it that when a solar company meets up with you, they need to look at your electric bill to determine whether or not they can help you? So you need to know what the formula is for calculating kilowatts to be able to know if they are really telling you the truth. Now, they could be doing calculations right in front of you, but if you don't understand it, then you don't know. And even if they explain it, yep, you understand it, but do you really know what's what? Um, I'm going to pull out a bill here in a minute because I want to kind of just go through what's actually on your bill. And this is important when you consider going solar, um, because there's more on your bill than just solar, or than just energy usage, because you use a certain amount of energy every month, period. If you go solar, you still will probably use the same amount of energy, but the difference is that the energy that you produce during daytime hours, when the sun is actually out high in the sky and focusing down on your panels, you're producing energy. When that happens, then all of the energy that you use in your house during the daylight hours, you're actually producing that. But then how much are you pulling from the grid when the sun goes down? Because you're special until the sun goes down. When the sun goes down, then you're just like everybody else, pulling your energy from the grid. So it's important for you to understand that. So I am going to kind of backtrack a little bit, because I'm telling you, I can just spin on a dime when we're talking about solar. My intention was to tell you who I am, Robin Fafmy. I am the founder and operations manager of Solar Logics EDU. Solar Logics, as I said, is a solar energy education company and sales organization. And what we believe is that it's important for you as the homeowner to really understand as much as you can about solar energy before you sign on that dotted line and actually enter into a binding contract. So I, of course, am in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area. Education can go anywhere. I mean, if solar is near you and you have a group of people who want to understand solar, you can give me a call at 214-497-7440, and we can talk about how I can come into your area or into a venue near you and do these classes. That's the next thing that has to happen, is homeowners have to become smart about this, because you know there are so many situations out there where solar companies are installing solar and there are problems. Here's what I want you to take away today. If you are approached by someone who is selling solar panels, solar energy, they go through the spiel with you, and you decide, well, I want it. I want solar. Make sure that the person who is selling it to you is connected with the company that is going to install. We're having problems in communities now where a sales rep will knock on the door, will tell you all about solar, will promise you the world, will get you approved for financing, and you will sign the contract with the finance company and with the installation company. Now that salesperson, even though that person may not work for the installation company, they are an independent person selling solar, but they will partner with an installation company. And then that installation company will show up and actually install your system. But be very, very careful, because right now there are situations where the sales reps, as I said, are making huge promises. And then when the installer comes, they don't know anything about what that salesperson promised you. They don't know anything about anything connected with that person. Now, in my mind, in my mind, if I am a solar installation company and I am getting jobs from someone who's out there selling solar, it seems like, we would have some sort of a relationship as to where I would know what you are telling the customer. Then, if the customer, the homeowner, uh, feels cheated, which is what I will say, if the homeowner feels cheated, then when they come back around to speak with the installation company, well, they don't know anything about what the person who sold it to you said. So they totally disconnect. So it's like this: the salesperson will get you to agree to buy the solar. They will get you approved. You'll sign all of your documentation. Once you do that, then they pass you to the installation company. Now they are totally separate. The installation company will not recognize anything that that salesperson actually said to you, sold to you. They are simply there to install. But realize that they are working together. It's like um, not necessarily good cop, bad cop, but they go in, they set you up, you sign contracts, and you're ready for your installation. But what if something goes wrong? Or what if you were promised something that you didn't get? Well, that installer is not going to honor anything that that salesperson told you. So, if any of this sounds familiar, please take it to heart, share it. If it has happened to you, call and let me know. Because here in the um, local area, DeSoto, Cedar Hill, Lancaster, Glen Heights, we are in the process of creating a list so that we can understand what companies are not providing the absolute best service. And we can only do that if you help us. So if you're having a problem, give me a call at 214-497-7440, and let's see if we can do anything to assist you, or if we can put you in the right direction. Now, here's another thing that I want you to be very aware of and careful of, and that is you have to read these contracts. Now, I know that anytime you make a big purchase or a high dollar purchase, it takes a lot of time. First of all, it takes a lot of time for the sales rep to go through his presentation and get you on board. Okay. Then once he's gotten you on board, they'll call up the finance company, and usually you're on a tablet or computer, and the finance company will start emailing. They'll start emailing documents for you to sign. Okay. You're going to do a DocuSign. Now, the contract is there, but now you tell me, are you really going to read that entire contract in that particular setting before you sign it? Most people do not. Most of the time, you will trust the salesperson to highlight the areas in the contract that you really, really, really need to be familiar with. And you trust that person to do that. Then, when you actually get the contract in your hand, you'll read it. You may not read every page still, but you will read it and you will have more information. Now, the reason this is so, so, so important is because you do have a right to cancel. So if the sales rep came to your house today and he left the same day, of course, you go to sleep, you wake up the next morning, you're like, oh, wow, why did I do that? I really, was not ready for solar panels. Well, you have 3 days, three, 1, 2, 3, 3 days to cancel. And the way that you do that is inside of the finance contract, as well as inside of the contractor's contract, there is a form. This form is titled 3-day notice of cancellation. There it is right there. You read that, and that will tell you how to cancel the contract. But now listen, if you sign that contract at 3 o'clock today, this afternoon, then 3 o'clock tomorrow is 24 hours, 1 day. 3 o'clock the following day is 2 days. Now you have to sign that contract or that notice of cancellation before midnight of the third day. Okay? So there are some things that you need to know that perhaps the salesperson and or the installers didn't tell you. Solar companies, installation companies, they are becoming somewhat tricky in that they will come to your house today, make the sale today, and within 3 days, do you hear me? Within 3 days, they will have the panels on your roof. The system will be installed on your roof within 3 days. So if you decided that you didn't want it, it's already up there. It's already up there. That's going to make it a little more difficult to get out of that contract. But technically, if it's before midnight of that third day, you can still cancel. But, they're doing things that are a little bit unfair in order to be sure that they get that system on your roof operating and they can get paid. Because the finance company, another story. So you've got two contracts that you need to be aware of. You've got the installation contract, which will protect you from leaks in your roof. Like when they put the solar panels on your roof, they have to drill holes. And so usually they'll go into the attic and do inspections and things of that nature. And they're supposed to be drilling into the rafters where that wood is like 2x4. So technically, that's what they should do. Do they always do that? No. Sometimes they will drill holes directly into the decking. Okay, no rafters at all. So lots of things can go wrong, but it's important for you to know this. Now, that an installation contract will also house within it a manufacturer's warranty. So that contractor's contract will give you two things. It is an installation warranty against leaks and problems with your roof that may have been caused by them putting the panels or installing the panels on your roof. And if there's a problem with the panels themselves, the inverters, or anything to do with the panels, then those panels usually will have at least a 20 to 25-year warranty. So you need to know that. On the other hand, that finance contract is very, very, very important because in most of the finance contracts, I've read a few of them. Um, Initially, there were only like maybe 4 or 5 finance companies that were actually lending for solar. There may be more now, but there are a few that are you will always hear about. You'll always hear about Sunlight. You'll always hear about Good Leap Financial. You will hear about Mosaic, and there are a few others. But those are some of the a few of the popular solar lenders. Now, in those contracts, they could say something different about how they will pay the installer. So, technically, before that installer gets paid, then he needs to have the system on your roof and it needs to be operating. Okay. Now, the finance company may or may not, in most cases, they will not contact you and ask you, um, so Robin, I know you had a solar install on, let's say February 29th. Is that correct? Yes. Is everything okay with your system? Are you satisfied? Yes, I am. Do you have permission to operate your system? Yes, I do. Then maybe, well, did the city inspectors come out and do what they're supposed to do? So sometimes the finance company may qualify whether or not the installation actually happened and whether or not you're satisfied. In most cases, they do not. So, if you've got a problem that is a serious problem, then read your contract. Well, now, what I'm telling you is that you should read that contract before you make the purchase. So let's go back a little bit. I'm in your house. I'm talking to you about solar. You're interested. You decide you want to purchase. My next move is to call the finance company, get you qualified. You know, usually they want your credit score to be around 650, at least 650. And they will ask you questions about your employment, about your household income, and a few other basic questions. And sometimes, if you're married, if your spouse is going to be on the loan, then they will need information from that person as well. Usually, usually if two people are on the deed, then they will want two people, the same two people on the loan. But there are many instances where they put the loan in one name. Okay. So when you know that you're ready to make this purchase, then ask for a copy of the actual loan papers, the loan documents. Don't sign anything. Don't sign it. Ask for a copy so that you can read it. You know, you can tell them, give you a day or two to read over both the installation contract and the finance contract. And once you have read that and you understand it, or maybe you will read it and have questions. If you have questions, then you can call that salesperson back. They can get the finance company on the phone again, and you can get all of your questions answered before you sign. This is what we want you to do. We want you to read and understand the contracts before before you sign them. That's one. And then the other aspect of that is, if you have a problem where the installer did not do his job properly. Okay, let's say, and I have situations right now where the installer attached the panels to the home and then they just abandoned. They left for whatever reason. They're telling the homeowner that they're waiting on the city to do an inspection, or they'll tell the homeowner that you need to sign the paperwork for the electric company that is going to actually deliver the energy to your home. So you have to have something called an interconnection application that you will need to sign, things of that nature. Um, but nobody comes to do anything. You sign everything you need to sign. You're waiting for the company, the installer, to come back and finish the work that he needs to do, but he never shows up. Then what happens is, when you finally make contact, you, when you finally make contact with someone at that company, you'll find that the people that you were dealing with initially, when this was first installed, they're not even with the company anymore. Now what do you do? That installer is going to do everything that he can not to acknowledge the problem, not to acknowledge that they're at fault. It's a very, very passive aggressive relationship now, because they want you to believe that they they have been waiting for you to give them permission to do whatever the next thing is. But in actuality, they just left. They didn't come and do anything else. But the reason they can do this and get away with it is because they have already been paid by the finance company. Okay? The finance company has already paid them. And so from their perspective, they really don't have to do anything else because they've already been paid. And they know it's going to be difficult for you to make any kind of headway. And that's why we want you in these solar energy education classes, so you will know how to deal with them. Now, if something like that has occurred, let's say, when you go back and you read your finance contract, your finance contract may say that before we advance any money, any payment to that installer contractor, the system needs to be installed. That's the first thing. You need to have permission to operate. Okay. That means that now you can switch your electricity uh, to solar. So that's a process where you call whoever you get your electricity from, whether whoever you pay your bill to. That could be TXU, that could be Rhythm, that could be Green Mountain, that could be, there are many of them out there. But when you go solar, you have to call whoever your electric company is, whoever you're signed up with, whoever is sending you a bill every month for electricity, you have to call them and say, hey, I switched to solar. Do you have a solar program? Do you have a solar buyback program more specifically? And if they do have a buyback program, then you want to learn about what it is that they're offering and if remaining with that particular company is actually going to work for you. It may not. You may have to switch. You may have to switch companies, and that's okay because it's a common thing. But back to that finance contract. If that finance contract says that we will not advance funds until that system is installed, and it will say that the contractor has to provide them with a package of information, documentation that they did everything that they needed to do to get this system up and running, meaning they probably have to provide, I don't know because I haven't seen what they provide. I'm working on a situation now where I'm trying to get that information to know what that is. But they probably have to provide the permit information with the city, proving that they had a permit. And they probably have to provide the PTO, the letter of PTO, that PTO is granted permission to operate from the electric company or the company that delivers the electricity to you. So they probably have to do that along with some other documentation. But if I am here with a system that is not fully operational, it has no electricity going to it, it's not fully installed and operable, but I do have PTO. The permit, they put the panels on without a permit. That happens a lot. But I've created a package for the finance company and they say, okay, you checked all the boxes. Since you checked all the boxes, we're going to go ahead and give you the money. But now, as you are recreating the situation because you got a problem, you're going to have to contact that finance company and say to them, according to your contract, according to your policies and procedures that you did not follow, you paid this contractor on my behalf for something that I don't have. And without the proper education, understanding, and knowing about how all of this works, or unless you're connected with someone like me, and I'm here to help, unless you're connected with someone who can help you recreate details so that you know how to talk to the finance company and get them to, you know, realize that they made a mistake. But now, I can't say for sure, but you know, they sometimes I think they're just all in it together. It's all about money. And you, the homeowner, you're the one who is taking the biggest risk. First of all, you're spending a lot of money to add solar to your home. And, in most cases, it works fine because I have solar on my home. I've had it for 3 years. In 3 years, I've paid 5 bills. And most of those bills, those five that I've paid, were in the winter months because when it's cloudy, rainy, ice and snow sitting on your panels, then you're not producing any energy. And if you are not producing energy, what are you doing? You're pulling energy from the grid just like everybody else. And when you pull energy from the grid, you have to pay for it. Okay. So the last 2 years, February has been a hard month, sometimes December, but it just depends. You all know how the weather is here in Texas. Now, in the summertime, I usually don't have a problem. That bill comes in at zero in most cases. And because in the summertime, when it's really, really hot, I get lots of sun and I am producing a lot of energy. When that happens, hey, we're good to go. Those bills come in at zero, 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 month after month, zero, zero, zero. So please understand, I am not here to talk you out of going solar. I am here to make sure that you understand how to correctly interpret information about solar energy so that when you choose to transition your home energy use to solar, you won't be taken advantage of. Because believe me, there are lots of scams out here. The one that I'm hearing the most about right now is solar companies knocking on the doors of senior citizens. And they are explaining to the seniors that the government is giving away solar panels free to senior homeowners. You don't have to pay anything for it, is what they will say. And when they ask that person, how much is your electric bill? Oh, baby, it's just too high. It's more than I want to pay. Well, the government will give you these solar panels and you can lower your bill and the panels don't cost anything. Does that sound good to you? Oh, yeah, that sounds good. Okay, do you think you want to go solar? Yeah. Well, if the government is giving panels for free, systems for free, and I don't have to pay anything for it, then yes, I want to go solar. So they pull out their forms and they start filling it out for the senior. Now they will get the name right, they will get the address right, they will get the last, usually they may have access to the social and they will use the last four numbers of that social will be correct. The others will not be correct. Okay. So usually if someone calls and they want to verify you, they'll say, what's the last four of your social? So this is why that salesperson will fill that paperwork out and the last four will be correct. Okay. They will have the correct bank listed on your loan document, but the account number will be wrong. So now and here's the kicker. They really do come and put these panels on your house. And they have to do that because they have to have proof that they put the panels on the house, that they installed them in order to what? Get paid. That's the key. They have to install them to get paid. So they will come and they will do that, put these solar panels on the home of this senior, and then they'll wave goodbye when they're done. And the next thing you know, the finance is calling you because you have not made a payment. And what do you say? Well, ma'am, I didn't agree to make any payments. I don't know what you're talking about. So then that person's children, adult children, or whoever has to get involved and try to figure out how to correct this. If it is blatant fraud, you can sometimes work your way out of it, but you have to know how. You have to know how to work yourself out of it. You you have to discover what information did they use? Where did they find the information? Is it actually your signature? Did you sign something or whatever? So there's a lot to it. And please, please, please keep a check on your elderly parents, relatives, and friends because this is real. It's happening in the areas that we live in. I even have one situation that I've heard of where a 90-year-old elderly man who is blind was actually taken advantage of that way. So we've got to work it out. And how do you work it out? Solar Logics EDU education classes, solar energy education classes is where you're going to start showing up. These classes will probably begin to be presented. This is March, probably the end of May, the 1st of June. We should have some locations in all of the surrounding areas, Dallas, Fort Worth, sub areas, DeSoto, Duncanville, Lancaster, Arlington. We're going to have locations for you to come to. We are working so that these classes will be free to you, which means that I have to get sponsors to help do this. And I'm very, very confident that we'll be able to do that. So pay attention to the information that will be coming your way soon. You may be driving and see billboards with my face on it talking about solar energy and solar energy education classes. So when you start to see the information, hear the information, don't hesitate, sign up and come. And even if you have no interest in solar for your home, come anyway. Learn something new and share it because who knows? Maybe your son or your daughter, your niece, your nephew, your sister, your brother, somebody is thinking about solar. And if they didn't attend the classes, but you did, then you can help. You can help them. So every week, this is just a lot of information. It's always a lot of information. Um, and I know that it's a lot of information, but I love solar so much that it's easy to talk about and it's easy to share. And I promise you that my intention is just simply to make you smarter as homeowners and to equalize the buying experience so that when you choose, and choose is the operative word. When you choose to transition your home energy use to solar, you'll be smarter. And because you're smarter, you make the absolute best decision. And then, too, when you start seeing me more, attending classes more, like I also do sell solar. So I can help you there as well. Um, so keep in mind that I am Robin Fafme. I don't necessarily know if I want to be considered or called the solar lady, but I am the solar education lady. You can call me that, you can call me whatever, but as long as you connect me with solar energy and how to make the best choice when it comes to that, then we are on the same page. And what we're going to do is just kind of correct the situations that are out there in our communities that are really going wrong. We are going to correct those situations and make solar make sense for homeowners. So I'm Robin Fafme. My phone number is 214-497-7440. If you want to take a look at my website, I'm a real legitimate LLC. Go to solarlogicsedu.com. And you're going to spell Logix, Logexs, solarlogicsedu.com. You can take a look at our website, and you can comment and contact us from that source or that site if you want to. But we're going to be here. We're going to be here until we get the attention that we need to make sure that homeowners are getting what they need. Now, I'm gonna go through this real quick, and then we're gonna be done. So I know a lot of you out there hear the commercials on TV, social media, all the different platforms. You will hear about the federal government giving a solar tax credit for homeowners who want to go solar. And right now it is 30%. That means that if your system costs $40,000, and the systems are not cheap, so don't be amazed at that particular number. But whatever 30% of 40,000 is, let me just do the math. 40 times 30%. That's $12,000. Okay, so these commercials will talk about the government giving a 30% tax credit. So you will get 30% of whatever your system is. $40,000, they will tell you that you're going to get $12,000. But when you get that $12,000, the finance company and the person selling it to you is going to suggest that you pay that full amount down on your system. You're paying it down so that you can maintain the low cost or the low payment that you start out at. But the one thing that you've got to understand is that you may not get that money, $12,000, in your hand at one time, because it's a credit. And the credit is designed to pay down your liability. So when you file your taxes, if you owe money, the credit will take care of that. Now, there are some times when you will get money back, but it may not be that full amount. So you've got the government with the federal tax credit, the salespeople and finance companies and the installation companies, they're using this as a lead in. Oh, go solar, get all this money back. You can use it to pay on your bill, or you can take it and do whatever you want. Now you've got the salesperson who is selling you like that. Now you've got the installer who's coming in, and they're going to show the finance company that they did what they needed to do, and they're going to get paid. And then there is you. You're the one who's taking on the risk. Now, if everything is fine, it's fine. But if there are problems and you still have to pay, that can be a little risky. So, again, there's so much to talk about, still so much. I just want you to remember my name, Robin Fafmy. If you're listening to me now, or if you happen to listen later, tell someone you know about me. If you have podcasts out there and you would like me to be a guest on your show, I'm ready to do that. And there's just so much that we are going to do together. But in this moment, I am going to go ahead and get ready to sign off. I've told you all I can tell you today, but I want you to beware of the phone calls regarding solar, the people that knock on your door. Just make sure that you read your contracts before you sign them. Okay? So until next Thursday at uh, 6:30, I'm going to sign off now and say I'll see you later. But if you need me, call me 214-497-7440. Robin Fafmy. Have a good one. So we'll just pause a little bit. Oh, don't worry, I'll be off in a minute.